Hey guys, welcome back to another recent viewing episode, and this time around I'm super excited to have a chance to talk about Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the lead up to this movie because I actually saw this today in theaters. It's been probably about a year and a half since I've seen a movie in the theaters. I've kind of just decided that going to the theater and watching movies like that is over for me for the most part. But every once in a while, something special comes along. Something special, like, for example, today in seeing Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was sometime this year, earlier this year, maybe even late last year. No, I think it was earlier this year when it was announced that the release date for The Force Awakens would be in December of this year, December 18th. And a friend of mine, Ron, who watches these videos sometimes, so hey Ron, he was like, hey man, we should definitely go to that. It's Star Wars. And I was like, okay, I guess I could see that, especially months and months and months out. How could I say no then? The closer it got, the more excited I was, but of course the more my anxiety issues started to ramp up, and I'm thinking about theater shootings and lots of people and crowds and you know, just the whole nine yards, all the shit that I get bogged down with. But I wasn't going to let it affect me. This was going to be that one time for sure, possibly the last time, at least maybe the last movie that I go see in theater for a long, long time. I mean, there's a chance I may go and see it again next week in theater with my daughter, but I mean, like, this may be the last film that I do that with. Anyway, so it got to be the time, and Ron helped me out with the tickets because I was short on cash. So thanks again for that. And I got my butt down there today, and we saw it at like 10:30 this morning, which was pretty awesome to go nice and early. But it was still a relatively crowded theater. Not, you know, armrest to armrest, but there were a lot of people there for 10:30 on. I mean, I know it's Christmas Eve, but anyway. So the previews started up. Saw some pretty cool looking previews. The Captain America Civil War one, which I've already seen. The first time I've seen X-Men Apocalypse. Gods of Egypt, which looked pretty interesting. The second time I've seen the new Independence Day trailer. I saw something called The Fifth Wave, which kind of, I wasn't all that interested in it. And there were a couple other things like some kids' movies and whatnot. And then the movie started with the same opening from all the previous episodes. And it kicked right in. And before I guess I get too far into the movie, let me just say I have not done videos for the other Star Wars movies, but I want to. But I'm just going to say it now because I think I've already said it in the past. I loved the original trilogy. The first movie came out when I was 3, so I didn't get to see it in the theater. I didn't get to see a Star Wars movie in theater until Return of the Jedi, which I went and saw twice in theaters back in 1983. But I really enjoyed them. I enjoyed getting them on video, VHS. I still own VHS for Star Wars. DVD, still own my DVDs of Star Wars. I have my Blu-ray saga, the box set with all 6 movies. And I love those original movies. I also enjoyed the prequels. I'm not going to say that I loved them. I'm not sure that there are too many people out there who will say that they love them. But I'm not one of those people who will say that I hated them. Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. I enjoyed all 3 of those movies. They fit into the story, despite the fact that I think George Lucas's direction was pretty crap and his writing was horrible. I enjoy those movies. It still showed the story. What can I say? Unless someday Disney decides to maybe remake those movies, I don't think I want them to. But if there was ever a series that maybe deserves being actually remade, it could be the prequel trilogy. But I enjoyed the prequels. I love the original movies. And like a lot of other people, I've been waiting a long, long time for the possibility that the often rumored episode 7, 8, 9 would be put out. And sure enough, it has happened. I mean, the first one has happened. They're going to do some spin-off movies, but I don't know what I think about that. But I especially with this movie, I'm super glad to see that we'll at least have the final movies in the sequel trilogies. I guess that's what we're going to call them. Anyway, so I love the originals. I like the prequels. I don't have any major complaints. I'm not going to throw shade towards those movies. I'm not going to completely shit all over all of it. I've even done a vlog about how I think people hate on Hayden Christensen unfairly because I don't think it was all his fault. Most of it had to do with dialogue, the writing, and I'm sure some of the directing and whatnot of those prequels. But anyway, I am spending way too much time talking about that part of it. The movie, The Force Awakens, whether your opinion of the prequels is negative, positive, or in the middle, I think this movie definitely redeems the franchise. It says whatever that stuff was and whatever the originals are, this kind of reestablishes Star Wars and should hopefully reestablish Star Wars as a great franchise for people young and old. I've debated whether or not I wanted to talk too much about spoilers in this, and I think that for right now I'm not going to. I'm just going to try to keep this, even though I've rambled for quite a long time, I'm going to try to keep this pretty short and sweet. It's a really good movie. It has really interesting characters. I love Finn and Rey. I love Kylo Ren, the new main, I guess, like the Darth Vader of this movie. If you had Darth Maul, you had Darth Vader, and now you have Kylo Ren. Not sure why they didn't give him a Darth name. Maybe it's because, as a reviewer that I watched said, Kylo Ren is still in training, so perhaps he does not have a full Darth name yet. I mean, I guess Darth Maul was still an apprentice himself. Maybe they will explain that at some other point. But I thought he was a really tremendous villain, and when you know some more about his backstory, it has even more impact. And yes, there are some pretty, in my opinion, pretty big but necessary things that happen in this movie. That would be spoilers if I talked about them, but I really truly believe, in my mind, I'm happy that those things happened because of the story thing. Nobody likes to see something tragic or devastating happen in a movie to characters that you love, but in this movie, when bad things do happen, I think it makes sense. It drives the story along. It gives you some insight into the characters. It makes you realize sometimes that bad guys are really bad guys and good guys are really good guys. Excuse me. I know that's kind of dancing around the subject, and I kind of want to talk about the spoilers, so maybe I will do another video at some other point and talk a little bit more about the spoilers. But right now we're talking like I guess it's almost midnight here, so it's been roughly a week since the movie's come out, and there's still a lot of people who haven't seen it. Oh my gosh, if I have something I want to add to this video, it would be how much. This is the first time I've seen a movie like this that was so hyped and is so full of stuff that people would consider heavy spoilers. It's the first time I've ever seen a movie in this situation since I've had something like Facebook and Twitter and just the internet in general. No matter where you go, online, and even some places in real life, people are like, this is a spoiler-free zone, no spoilers. I've seen Facebook pages ban people for spoilers. I got so lucky in that I didn't see anything at all. and I saw a lot of articles and headlines, and I knew what not to click on. But even in other places that I visit where spoilers like that could have popped up, I managed to avoid everything. That's why I'm so glad that I am the way that I am about stuff. Like, I kind of cut myself off from movie related news. I might watch one or two trailers for a movie and then I just shut it down. And so I benefited greatly, in my opinion, on this movie, on not having gotten spoiled on any of the things that happen in it that are kind of shocking and pivotal. So, yeah, I guess that's about all I have to say without delving into the spoilers of stuff. Yeah, without delving too much into spoilers, I guess that's probably about all I can say. I loved it. It was really, really good. It's been a long, long time since I mean, I've seen a lot of movies where I'm like, yeah, that was really good. But it's been a long, long time since a movie really had an effect on me. Like, this is a movie that has tons of moments where if you're a big fan of or at least the original trilogy, and you love those characters and the story, and you've been steeped in all that for 20 or 30 years, there were a ton of moments in this movie that kind of tugged at your heartstrings, had me on the verge of tears, just because of how happy and emotional I was over stuff that was going on in the movie. I don't know, I just think it's pretty amazing. It's an amazing job that J.J. Abrams did with this, and all the cast that's in it. Like I said, Finn and Rey as characters were amazing. Kylo Ren, it was so great to see Han and Leia back, and Luke briefly. I realized today, or the last day or two, I was like, gosh, in a way, I've kind of grown a little bit of a Luke Skywalker beard here recently. I mean, his is probably a little bit longer than mine, but I got the same, like, salt and pepper thing going on there. So anyway, maybe the Force is strong with me. But anyway, thanks for watching this rambling video about The Force Awakens. Like I said, I didn't want to spoil anything in this, so all I could really just say is, if you're a Star Wars fan, go fucking see it. It's awesome. Go see it 12 times. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Like I said, maybe I will do another video in the next few weeks talking about the spoiler parts of the movie once more people have had a chance to see it. I know only a handful of people see my videos, but I would hate to spoil anything in one of these for a movie like this. A movie that I actually saw in the theaters before I had to wait 4 or 5 months for the home release. So I don't want to spoil that for anybody, even if it's just one person. So just go out and see it. That's all I got to say about that. Thank you for watching. See you next time.